guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Jazz, and this is Dream Home with Jazz, a channel dedicated to all of my home DIY and woodworking projects. If you are wondering what's going on behind me, I am currently planning our dining room makeover, which you will see in a future video. So while I'm finishing that up, I thought it would be fun to work on a smaller woodworking project. After I made my husband's desk, he asked if I could also make him a chessboard that he could display in his office space. So after thinking on it, we thought it would be cool if we would make a vertical chessboard. I will include a picture on the screen so you can get a visual of what I'm talking about, and you can see our inspo for creating this. I never knew this was a thing, so I'm super excited to get started on this. And I love how it can pretty much act as its own piece of art too. I sketched this out so I can get my exact measurements and plan out how I could actually make this functional. I think I'm ready to go, and I think overall I have a pretty solid game plan. So let's just hope I don't run into any issues. For this build, I will link the exact pieces of wood I used and their measurements below, but all that's needed for this are 8 boards that will make up the game board, 7 boards for our shelves, and 5 pieces to create the frame. To start, we're cutting down our game board pieces to 20 inches and then prepping for stain. Here I'm using my tack cloth to get rid of all the dust left over from sanding, and then I'll be staining these pieces with contrasting colors before I begin assembling this piece. I put pre-stain on first, let that sit, and then I will use 2 different stains, one in the stain natural and then the other in honey. This is how it's looking right now. This is where I'm starting to get excited because this is where I'm starting to see the whole chessboard come together. I was anticipating having to put wood conditioner on the lighter pieces and then put the lighter stain on top of it. But honestly, I don't think it needs it. It stained it dark enough. So I'm very happy with where it is now. So I will leave those be. And then I'll come back in and give the darker pieces one more stain, and then we will go from there. Okay, y'all, these are stained and dry. So at this point, we just need to figure out how we're gonna glue all of this together to make the actual game board. So as you guys saw, these boards are actually pretty thin. So I don't think that I'll be able to just glue these together and clamp them because I think it's just gonna end up buckling in the middle. So instead, I got this pre-cut sheet of plywood. It's a 1/4 inch thickness. I'm just gonna cut the plywood down the sides, and then I'm gonna glue all of these to the plywood so that when we go back in to cut out our strips to make the actual game board, these strips will have something to hold on to and the squares won't come apart. So I'm gonna be making all of these cuts with my Dremel Ultra Saw, and I love this thing. I just got it. It's very lightweight, but it does have some heftiness to it. It's battery operated, and it's perfect for these smaller kind of projects, especially when I don't have like a table saw or a circular saw to make those kind of cuts. So, ooh, I'm so excited. Let's get started on this. Personally, this blew my mind. I've played chess before, but I've never even considered that you can make a board like this. So I want to know, have you guys ever seen this? Or if you regularly play chess, have you ever played on a board like this? Even if you don't play, this is the perfect conversation starter. And I've noticed that checkerboard patterns are really popular in interior design right now. So taking that a step further and making this playable wall art is genius. Everything is glued to the plywood, so now let's cut this back into strips. I'm gonna be using my Dremel for this, and I have frog tape, which I will be using over where I will be making my cuts because I don't want the wood to split. I'm really hoping that I can get away with doing it this way, or else I'll probably have to start over. We don't want that. Fingers crossed, y'all. So everything's looking really good right now, so I'm gonna take the exact measurements from the game board and the shelves, and I'm going to use that to get the exact measurements for the frame. While everything dried, I cut the frame down the side, which I also stained off camera, and then started assembling it. We needed somewhere to set all the pieces when they weren't in place, so I decided to add an extra shelf at the bottom. Attaching the frame was the easiest step of the project. All I needed was some wood glue and clamps to bond this thing together, and then to ensure that this thing will really last, off camera I grabbed my brad nailer just to reinforce the corners of the frame, and then I finished this off with a top coat of poly to protect it from any dings and scratches. It's really hard not to love the convenience of this. This freed up valuable table space for us so we can really maximize every inch of the game room. And I love how this is a cool, unique spin on a classic game. If you guys choose to recreate this, instead of staining, try looking for different types of wood like walnut, white oak, maple, and just mess around with the different combinations just to make it more unique and to give it more of that custom look. I finished this project right on time because with Christmas right around the corner, this turned into one of the coolest custom gifts I've given Pat. And this way, I feel like it's a lot more thoughtful and meaningful than anything I could have bought in stores. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Drop a comment below with your thoughts on this vertical chessboard, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any future content. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you in my next one.